Oh, just massive jack, missed it. Yep, there it is. Oh, it's a big dog. Yes. Oh. Sick. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. Oh, Trev's going nuts. Yes! Brilliant. Oh! Not sure if you actually saw that jack that I saw. And there he goes again, oh my god. Come on. Oh, yep. Yes. Oh, it's a good fish too. Oh, it's taking me out into the middle. That means it's decent. Oh, beautiful big crab. Oh, there had to be something there. There you go. Take a look at that. What a beauty. Right up next to that drain in there. Well, I've had an absolute blast this morning, and it's not because my plan came together. It fell apart before I even hit the water. I missed my alarm this morning and slept in. And then what made it worse, I got down here to the ramp and there were 3 kayakers pulling their kayaks out. They'd already fished it this morning in front of me, the same section that I've just fished. So I was a bit deflated when I got down here and I hadn't even put the kayak in the water yet. Attitude is such an influential factor when we're kayak fishing, especially if you're chasing top tier predators in pressured waters, that you just have to fish for an advantage. And that's the concept, that's the mindset that I think is just such a big player in my catch rates, and it's happened again this morning. I'm just out here thinking fish for an advantage, try and do what hasn't been done yet, and try and fish hard against cover. So make sure my casting accuracy is just mint, on song, right in against it, and just keep trying to work with the conditions that present themselves, because I missed the early morning bite period. The low light conditions that I love for Mangrove Jack, I missed it. So I didn't sulk, not for too long. The moment I had the kayak in the water, I thought change your attitude, get it right, and fish for an advantage. So what I've been doing, I actually ended up fishing the shallow side because I started fishing in and against the cover where I didn't think the other kayakers would have fished. Usually jack fishermen are fishing like the deep bends, and I went to where the bait was, scooting around in the shallows, migrating under the cover, and started fishing that. And the fallen logs that's in there with the shallow stuff, the jacks are like sighted up real close to the cover, and they're the ones that I was hitting. And I wasn't fishing slow, I was on medium burning, really well presented. This is what I'm using. And in shallow water, I just love these Eco Gear bolts and got 'em shads, and what else are good, like nori spoon tails, and Kitech minnows, things like that. These little paddle tail plastics rigged weedless with a weight underneath. This is like a 1/4 or an 1/8 ounce. They're perfect for casting into these shallow sections. Shallow water tactics for me means reaction bite. You're looking to get the lure right in deep and then burn it back, and the jacks don't have a chance to think. So pressured waters, that's how you want to roll. So get your lure in there, burn it back, and if you bring it past the log, like a foot past the log and you haven't felt anything, just stop, let it drop, and he'll grab it. So I've had action all morning. It's like 11 o'clock now, and I've been fishing since like 6:30, and it's just been non-stop. I'm leaving the fish feeding is how I'm feeling, because I'm getting the lure into these areas where the bait is, and I've got a really good representation of the bait, exactly what it is, and just bringing it back. I mean, I haven't had great conditions this morning. It's rained on and off, and there's been periods where it's just completely bright. So that's when I've been hammering the shadows, because the jacks will move fairly quickly around depending on what's going on. So as soon as the shadows were up, I was focusing more so on those little pockets. And then as the rain came over, I even went to I got snapped off this morning on a big jack using like a diving minnow like that. It was a Lucky Craft pointer. I caught a big flathead on this one too. This is just a cheap Kato slash minnow that I had to put heavier trebles and hooks on, because they come they're Chinese imported, so they come really cheaply made with the hooks. But these heavier hooks make it suspend, and just dancing my diving lures, the same as you would my ironmouth or a popper, you just dance it over the shallows, and that's when I was giving him a chance to take it. So slash style retrieves or rip baiting, it's not really the way to go in the shallows for the jacks I've found. But if you're kayak fishing and you want jack on diving lure, just twitchy retrieves in the shallows is mint, and that's what's happened for me again this morning. The other thing that I've been doing, and this might be the biggest advantage you've got as a kayak fisherman, it's your stealth. So when I've filmed jacks in the past, any movement that I've made against the tide or corrections, the jacks are onto it and they spook like that and they're gone. So as much as possible, I've been using the motor, but if you're using a paddle to correct, it's a really slow correction if you're near the cover that you're trying to hit. And then you just use a drifty approach, just drifting into the section where you can cast in with no boat movement. That's what you want if you're going to chase jack and get serious about it. A drifty approach is just a great tip, and it takes a little bit of patience, but you're in a kayak, you've got to be patient. In actual fact, it works better for you. And that's what I've been doing. I've been throwing 4, 5, 6 times in against the same bit of cover, trying to get that reaction bite, and it's been working. So there's a couple of things that'll help you catch rates. The other thing that I noticed with kayak fishermen when I fished with mates in the past is they'll fish, and when they hook up, they fight the fish, and if it goes down underneath them, they're really pulling up hard. And often by the time a boat fisherman has the fish out to the boat, he's already fought the hard fight. Whereas with a kayak, you get pulled in by a good jack, and so you're straight up and down straight away. So my retrieve, when I hook up, I'm just hammering it, trying to get it out away from the cover, and that's the main part of the fight. I'm not going easy, and you can't with a jack anyway, but with a flathead, for example, I'm trying to fight it hard to get it out, and then when it's here, I'm sort of softening up as much as I can so that I don't pop the hooks. So a jack on his side or a flathead on his side and you're up and down on it, you can pop the hooks pretty bad, and kayak fishermen, sometimes their catch rates go down because of it. So these are all things that I was fishing for with my advantage. The tidal movement, when I started to see the tide slow up under these mangrove sections, I went to a surface lure and started trying to turn them on like that, and I got one. So look for the bait movement. Obviously that's something that people are always doing, but if it's on the shallow side, get your lure up in there and have a go. The shallow water tactics that I've used this morning have been mint, and I've actually been doing it for a few weeks now, and my jack numbers are really good. So it's about fishing for an advantage. Find the advantages that you can and keep that mindset where you can just keep pumping casts and trying to build a stack of things in your advantage so that you can get your catch rates up. This next segment shows you exactly what I've been doing to get my catch rates up, fishing pressured waters, but really working the lure in hard against the sections and fishing for that advantage. Take a look. Oh. Jack short. Jack short. Yep. Oh, snap. Done. Yep. Oh, bang. See that? Wait. Yep. Yes. Oh, beautiful little jack. Yes! Oh, it's a big one. Crazy. Oh, it's gonna drop me. It's gonna belt me off this. There's a big one there. I'm not confident at all. Well, you're gonna have. Oh, it had a big mate with it too. I got the smaller of the two, and this one's in the high 40s. That log just had Jack written all over it. And this is what it's all about. On out trying a new lure that's just hit the market and fishing on the pointy edge of the industry. This thing is it's taken my fancy. It's called a Berkeley Bottom Shad, and rigged weedless. The action on these things is just insane, and the jacks love them. Oh, what an absolute corker. Look at the size of this thing. Yeah, you ripper. Take a look in there. I'll get him out and give you a look at him. I'm actually up fishing in brackish water, so there's a chance that I'll be getting bass, and I have had some bass hits on him, but there's no mistaking a jack when he hits, and they don't miss very often. The weedless worm hooks sometimes get criticised because of the hookup rate, but with a mangrove jack, it's just about a sure thing. Got the fish shakes, the nerves are through the roof. Everything goes when you hook one of these things. Just lose it, eh? That's right. There we go. He's biting down on the net, so I'm just going to let him go for a little bit. But these bottom shads, they've got a really tight wobble. There's only a couple of the plastics out on the market that have got that, but these have got a much better finish. And so I've been flicking it in around all of this cover and finding the deep bends and the ends of these creeks on the Gold Coast is just fantastic with this style of fishing. So much fun. This is the ultimate challenge in my book, to come up in natural structure with a kayak, use your stealth, and get in and flick hard against the structure and just hang on. It's hard in mouth stuff. I absolutely love it. Have a look at this brute. There's the bottom shad, just rigged weedless with that little weight underneath, and then they belt him with such aggression. It's just great sport fishing. Yes! Oh, belted off that corner there. This is just incredible fishing in here this morning. This is a beautiful bass. Again, just on these weedless, this is an eco gear bolt, but just fish weedless, so I'm skip casting and poking this in around the heavy cover. And oh, I've been belted. And it's not just bass up here. Like, take a look at that beauty. But actually there goes a snake along the bank. But it's not just bass. I've pulled jack out of here this morning. I've seen trevally busting up through here. Gold Coast fishing out of a kayak is just incredible. If you haven't got into it yet, you need to try it because it's something else. You can get into some quiet water like this and you feel a million miles away from the city. But the fishing is just, oh, it's incredible. The adventure, you feel like you're all a part of it out here. It's the escapism is awesome. Let's just keep doing it. It's red hot fishing at the moment. Good morning, my love. Hello. Really, really, really good. How are you? I've got a nice jack and a nice bass in the most amazing spot this morning.
You caught what?
Really good jack and really good bass in a just amazing spot. Stoked off my face.
Wow, so you've got it all.
Well, not everything, but I've got. Yeah, I'm on! Oh, big jack! I gotta go. Oh, I'll call you back. Here's another one. And the kids are up. The missus is on the phone, and it's all it's all happening. These jacks are just so intense, and you just can't do anything. You've just got to hang on. And oh, about to snap me rod. Oh, we're just so lucky to have the fishing we've got on the Gold Coast. This isn't a small fish. He's up in that the high 40s. He's just playing with me, eh? And I just go to pieces when these things hit. There's no way that you can hold it together because the fight is just crazy. But the technique, I've got to share it with you because it's just red hot this time of year for mangrove jack and bass. But it's a great challenge to just go throwing these weedless plastics in, and you want to skip it in amongst all of the brush pile stuff that's hanging up there, and you can see that really heavy cover. The jacks are there in teams, and God, it's exciting. Look at that. That's me brother, he's jealous because he's not on board. But take a look at that, would ya? Jesus. I've got to turn my bloody phone off, this is stupid. Have a look at that. What a beautiful, beautiful fish. Such a great challenge in this skinny water. It's crystal clear. And I'm just swapping between bass and jack. They share the spot and they're competing for the lures. It's just intense. Just going to keep going. Unhook this fella and just keep at it.
Oh! That's jack for sure every day of the week. God, it hurts, but it's so damn good. Oh, not even half a second. There goes my lucky craft. Do you know what? I couldn't even see it. There's a shallow bank there of rock with water pushing over it. I could see the mullet there, and I thought, oh, stuff it, I'll just throw on top of the mullet on the shallows, and out of nowhere just appeared. Can't do anything. Well, that's probably the best way to finish things, and I want to finish with this point because I'm just fishing inspired, so inspired these days. I mean, my fishing's changed a lot in the last couple of years, but I've got a hell of a lot better because of it. I really am time squeezed, and I know a lot of you guys are the same. For me, I've got 2 kids now, but I know that for some of you it's your work, and the time we get on the water is so precious to us that I'm just fishing so inspired. I'm testing everything, testing my casting constantly, testing the aggressive nature of the way I can retrieve lures, especially for mangrove jack and trevally, because they love an aggressive style of retrieve. But the real reason that there's this inspired fishing going on is because of the purpose that I feel around it, the way that it fills me up, and how much better it makes everything else in my life. I know that when I can get an hour, a fortnight, or a couple of hours before school once a week, I'm just a much better version of myself because of it. And I hope that you take that point with you to go out and just make sure that you're organising yourself and trying to prep and get yourself some time to get out on the water and chase some of these brilliant fish, because I see it a lot with the kids that I teach at school now. The way they try and find their escapism is through this, and it really isn't working for them. We've got to fill up from the inside out, and you've got to give yourself that time to go out and fill up your soul and give yourself to get some breathing space. And going after fish and challenging yourself like this, I just get so much out of it, and I know you do too. And the Gold Coast has just got such great accessibility and such a variety of fishing species and amazing locations where you can go and chase great fish and fill up on exactly what I'm talking about. There's really only one thing left for you to do. You've got to go out and get on the water and do it. So I hope I see you out here enjoying yourself soon.